Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. It's still hot in the UK. Hot, hot, hot. But we soldier on. Alright. Going to be a quick video this. Just wanted to talk a little bit about an interview that Joe McNally gave. Joe McNally is Josh Taylor's current trainer. He was in the corner when Taylor lost to Teofimo Lopez. And I thought there was something very, very interesting that was said in the interview, and it's not something I agree with. It's not something I can believe. I mean, I don't know Josh Taylor. I don't train him. I can't sit here and argue against McNally, who's in his corner, and so on and so forth. But McNally said, "I think Josh Taylor should stay at 140." And when he said that, I thought, really? Why? Wasn't it proven against not just Lopez but Catterall that Taylor's days at 140 are numbered? Not according to McNally. He's saying, there's plenty of fights for him down at 140, and he made the weight fine. The weight had nothing to do with the defeat, and I'm thinking, I don't know about this. I really don't know about this. Now, making weight, obviously you need correct nutrition, you need the correct amount of time to take the weight off sensibly so that your body adapts to the lower weight and you can retain strength and so on and so forth. And it seemed to me that you can boil yourself down and make a weight and look aesthetically pleasing, but you can't if it's an unnatural weight for your body, for your whole physiology, then it's kind of a fake weight that will not translate into any athletic pursuit, especially not combat sports. And I thought we saw strong evidence of that with Taylor, because in the first 3 rounds Taylor looked good and he was doing the right things and he was being very imaginative with his punches. He had earlier on in the fight he had lots of energy. He was mixing his punches up well. He was controlling the range, and Lopez was very much still in the fight. Obviously, it's not like he battered Lopez from pillar to post. But he looked like he had a bit too much of everything for Lopez. And then between rounds 4 to 6, he just kind of slowed down he sort of stopped. He was feinting beautifully early on. He stopped doing that and he just kind of sort of began following Lopez around, almost like he didn't have the energy, or the energy was depleting and he was losing the energy to do what he was doing in the first 3 rounds. And in the second half of the fight, certainly the last third of the fight, he was just ragged. He was following Lopez around. Lopez was teeing off and Lopez was completely dominating him and won a deserved decision. 2 of the judges had it 115, 113. And Joe McNally said, oh yeah, it was a close fight. I mean, I made it 116, 112, so that's 8-4 in rounds. I suppose you could have given 1 or 2 of the Taylor rounds to Lopez if you felt that way inclined. But I definitely didn't think it wasn't close as far as I could see anyway. And I just have doubts about Taylor staying at 140. I was so surprised to hear McNally say that. Now, there is another reason why McNally's saying stay at 140, and that is because he knows that Josh won't be able to campaign at the highest level at 147. Because he might not be big enough to take on people like Spence, Boots Ennis and the other big guys. I mean, Crawford came up from lightweight, essentially, stopped off and became unified at 140, and then he's settled into 147. He's a full-blooded 147 pounder now. He's made a string of stoppage defences. But I don't. With Taylor at 32, he hasn't got years to settle into the weight. And also years of making an unnatural weight can take its toll anyway. You saw that with Roy Jones is the perfect example to me, going up to heavyweight and boring himself down to light heavyweight again. It was never going to work. So perhaps McNally's thinking 147. Andy Lee called it a jungle. You're going into the jungle and you need the right weapons to protect yourself. And Taylor has enjoyed at 140, when he was strong at the weight, a lot of physical strength, the capability of pushing opponents around, of getting in the clinches, of doing all that stuff that needs to be done. and he wouldn't have those physical advantages at 147. And I think I don't see him. He might. I mean, if he's manoeuvred right, he could pick up a belt along the way, I suppose. But I don't see him giving Spence or Crawford or Ennis or any of those killers. I don't see him giving him a really competitive fight. I wouldn't pick him to beat any of those guys. And if you go through the 147 pounders, there's a few others that I'm not sure about. I mean, the man I'd put him in with if he moves up to 147 is David Avanesian. I think that'd be a good little test. Because to have Avanesian, despite getting flattened by Crawford, is actually a very good fighter. Good, top 12 welterweight, very good, worthy European champion. I like Avanesian a lot, and I think he would test Taylor, and Taylor might get himself, 10 good rounds from that fight. But he's sort of between a rock and a hard place. At 140, I can't see him I just can't see him beating the top 140 pounders now. I think he's just dead at the weight. I don't think he'll be. Doesn't matter how well nutritioned he is. I don't see him retaining that strength and stamina to take on the top guys over 12 rounds anymore. And as far as 147 goes, like I say, he hasn't got the time to settle into the weight and build it up. But he can, if he wants to carry on. Of course, I think he does want to carry on. Apparently, he's talked about being a 2-weight world champ. He's got to make a decision. And the other decision he's got to make is he going to stick with McNally? Because he might not. If McNally's saying you should stay at 140 and Taylor says, no, I can't do that anymore, I need 147, perhaps they'll have a fallout. I don't know. But leave your comments below. What do you think about this weight issue? Because it's not just true of Taylor, it's true with a lot of fighters. Being weight trained. I remember back in the 80s and 90s, I would, because it was very, very difficult to get hold of, foreign boxing in those days. You had to order these VHS tapes and weeks after the event and watch them. But I was always reading about these Thai fighters who would get down to, skin and bone. And a couple of them had to be lifted onto the scales in order to be weighed, and yet somehow they replenished their bodies. Amazing. But very, very, very dangerous. Very dangerous. What do you think about the weight thing with Taylor primarily? Give me your opinions below. And thanks for watching the video as always. And if you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be great. And like the video if you liked it as well. And yeah, looking forward to reading your comments as always. I'll speak to you soon. Meanwhile, bye for now.